And hi everyone, welcome to your community engagement, solidarity, and citizenship. This is your instructor, Mr. Crip Anthony E. Ramos, and for this session, this would actually be the first part of our discussion about the concepts and perspectives of community. Okay, so as a start, let's talk about learning about the community. So definitely, class, if we're talking about learning about your communities, or if you would ask me, sir, why do we need to learn about the communities? It is simply because it would be the key to appreciate our daily interactions with others. Okay, so as we look at, of course, ourselves in a web of social connections. So as we all know, okay, definitely kailangan natin ng isa't isa para mabuhay because we humans are made to be social beings. And that being said, it is needlessly to say that we will really need to have daily interactions with others so that we will be able to survive this life. Okay, so of course, since we are already dealing with other people, or it is imperative for us to deal with them, definitely we will be also needing to find ourselves in that web of social connections because as we go along the way, if you can still recall, definitely no, simula nung pagkabata mo up until ngayon na ikaw ay senior high school, no, definitely marami kang kinakausap, no? At marami kang relasyon na binubuo, be it your friends, your families, even your crushes, and also there are different social connections that you might want to create. And that being said, definitely we must learn about our community so that we will also know about ourselves and our surroundings. Okay, so knowing the range of reasons why people come together, why they form relationships and bonds, just like what I mentioned earlier, and how this operate in the broader social setting makes us further appreciate the value of the meaningful actions and contributions that we impart to our community. Because whether we admit it or not, lahat ng ginagawa natin meron niyang impact sa komunidad natin, no? Maging pasaway ka diyan, maging kapaki-pakinabang ka diyan, definitely it would yield an impact to your community. No, sir, even ba na nag-aaral pa lang kami, do we have an impact sa community? Of course. And definitely that is the very reason why we're studying this subject. No, that we will be really needing to impart something that is beneficial and hindi yung mga ano no yung mga bagay na kung saan ikasisira ng ating komunidad. And how will be able to know that? Of course, we will know that by learning about your own communities. And as we learn about the communities, we will also understand the dynamics within our community, and it will aid us in responding to the collective challenges we face. So, say for example, this kind of problem that we are facing, this pandemic, do you think mareresolve siya ng iisang tao? I don't think so. No, kaya nga ang gobyerno nga, ang administrasyon nga as of the moment, they are really needing help from various sectors of our of our society. No, they are calling upon the manufacturers of the vaccines. They are even asking our businessman to intervene for us, no, since sinasabi nga nila wala tayong pondo. And in that being said, no, with that being said, no, etong challenges na mga kinakaharap sa lipunan, no, be it yung pandemic, yung mga basura, mga pollution, it will require us a collective action, and that collective action will start from us. If we will be really if we will be really interested, and if we will be really committed to answer and to address that kind of challenges that we are facing. So again, since it is a collective challenge, it will also require you to have a collective action. Okay, so addressing these challenges through community initiatives and interventions requires a familiarity of the community, people, history, and even the issue. So sabi ko nga sa inyo mga kapatid, so if you will not be able to learn about the challenge itself, no, paano mo siya mareresolba? Paano mo siya mabibigyan ng solusyon? No, so kung hindi mo alam yung nangyayari sa iyong lipunan, I don't think you will be able to be helpful in your community. So that is why it is imperative for us to learn about our communities. Okay, so in talking about the communities, there are various disciplines that is involved in this one. No, so let me give some. So definitely, if we're talking about CESC, okay, this is something to do with other disciplines in the social sciences. So devoted to deepen our understanding of communities. So community life and community action would definitely be derived from various disciplines. So one of which would actually be sociology. So if we're talking about sociology in relation to community, it will look into group formations, your relationships toward other people, the community dynamics, your interaction within a social structure, and of course, your social action that are being proposed so that you will be able to address the issue. Okay? In terms of political science, of course, it will draw attention to issues and problems related to public affairs, so such as consensus building, the dimensions of power, and even the relationship of your community as to the allocation and distribution of resources and value. So let me give you another example. So in terms of the pandemic, okay? So political science is much interested, no, most especially yung subdivision ng political science, which is yung public administration, that is actually they are more interested into dealing with the allocation and even the distribution of resources and your values, of course, so that we will be able to address, no, efficiently our problem. So lastly, no, we also have the anthropology, in which it will help you to examine the emergent complexities from the history and even culture of individuals and the community. So those are the disciplines in the social science, no, the most commonly that is related to the community. Okay. So, but first, it is also imperative and significant for us to define what is a community. So, let's go back to its etymological definition. So, community was derived from the Latin word communitas, which means fellowship. So, its Latin roots would be communis, which means common. Com translates to with or together, whereas manure, okay, translates to strengthen, to fortify, or to defend. So simply to defend. No? So simply put, if we're talking about community, we would want to strengthen ourselves together with other people. Okay? So definitely, kapag sinabi mong komunidad yan, hindi pwedeng mag-isa ka lang na maninirahan or mamumuhay sa lugar na yon. No? Since the very essence of community is to strengthen, to fortify, or to defend all together no makasama ng komunidad na yon. So that would be the etymological definition of community. So now there are different perspectives on how community is being defined. So let's first look into the social science perspective. So if you will be asking social science, okay, so it would define community as an informally organized social entity that is characterized by a sense of identity. So ang keyword dyan would actually be yung sense of identity. Meron daw iisang identity or common identity yung mga tao in which they informally organize this social entity. Okay? So it would also be a group of people living in the same defined area, sharing common basic values, organization, and interests. Of course, class, no? Gugustuhin mo bang manirahan sa isang komunidad na nataliwas sa iyong pananaw or paniniwala? I don't think so, no? So ang sinasabi ng social science perspective is that ito ay grupo ng mga tao na naniniwala sa isang conviction, no? At yung conviction na 'yon, no, let me give you an example. Sa LGBT community, of course they will agree to to the basic values of, say for example, gender equality. Okay, otherwise, kung hindi ka naniniwala sa gender equality, I don't think that you will fit in that community. Okay? So definitely there would be a same defined area, no? So pwedeng ang inyong pagkakabuklod ay lugar, pero pwede rin ang inyong pagkakabuklod ay tungkol sa inyong mga values na ina-uphold bilang isang komunidad. So it is also being defined as a population which is geographically focused, existing as a unique social entity with a collective identity and purpose. And this would be a group of people with diverse characteristics that is being linked by social ties, formed and consolidated by their collective aspirations, sharing and exchanging perspectives, and are collectively engaged to do some concerted action in a geographical location or setting. So madalas na binabanggit dyan yung geographical location. It's simply because karaniwan sa mga komunidad natin, say for example sa barangay, sa lungsod, na kung saan naninirahan yung mga tao sa isang defined area. So that is actually the definition according to your social science. Okay? So let's go now to the civil society perspective. So if we're talking about the civil society perspective, let's look into civil society first. No, I believe you already tackled this during your during your politics and governance subject. So if we're talking about civil society, this would refer to a political community of original groups operating within the authoritative parameters of your state. Okay, it has also been referred to the third sector that is distinct from the government and the market business. So since we're talking about the state and the market business, this is something to do with your public and private sector, no? So kung ano daw yung nasa gitna ng state at saka ng business or ng market, definitely yun yung tinatawag natin na civil society, because that third sector would definitely do or kaya rin nilang gawin yung ginagawa ng government and even yung ginagawa ng business side. Okay, so that would actually be the definition according to your civil society perspective. So examples ng civil society organization that is part of course, of our community would be what we call as the NGOs or the non-governmental organizations, and also the POs, which is also known as the People's Organization. So they are the most common examples of your CSO or civil society organization. Okay, so if we will be defining POs or the People's Organization, these are independent, autonomous entities and officially registered and acknowledged as organizations according to the rules and standards that is being set by your state or your government. So definitely this would be the definition of community according to your civil society perspective. All right. So let's go ahead now and define community in terms of your organic perspective. So if we will be talking about the organic perspective, this would refer to local or grassroots groups within a particular locale that are driven and organized because of community issues and concern. Okay? Actually that's concern. No, so if we're talking about if we're talking about organic perspective, no, lagi kang bababa doon sa laylayan ng lipunan. No? Ito yung sinasabi nila nila Vice President Leni Robredo na kung saan ang bawat problema no nag-uugat daw siya sa grassroots level or pinakalaylayan, pinakababa, no? And yung community daw natin, according to your organic perspective, kung ano yung pinakamababang unit, that would actually be yung community natin. Na meron tayong particular local na kung saan meron mga kinakarap ng issue. Be it yung issue halimbawa ng basura, be it yung issue halimbawa ng pollution, no, be it yung issue halimbawa ng terorismo, lahat 'yan, no? That is the very essence kung bakit daw nagkakaroon ng community, because sabi ko nga kanina, no, if we will be really needing to address and to solve such issues that we have, definitely kailangan nating bumaba sa sa pinakababa, and then we must also know our community so that we will be able to come up with the best possible solution for that. Okay, so community is also being referred to as the grassroots because of their local and capacity building characteristics. So sabi ko kanina, pag sinabi natin grassroots, ito yung pinaka nasa laylayan ng lipunan or pinaka mababa, no? So ito yung hindi ito macro, no? Kung tutuusin sa economics, hindi ito yung macro perspective. Ito yung nasa micro, yung pinakamaliit, no? Bababa ka talaga doon sa pinakamaliit, kagaya halimbawa ng barangay na kung saan kakailanganin mong aralin kung ano nga ba yung mga dynamics, ano ba yung characteristics ng lugar na concern. So in that sense, no, you are going towards yung pinakamababa nga, and that is your grassroots. Kaya nga from the word itself, grassroots, no? So yung daw, no, yung ugat daw ng damo at yung pinakadulo niya, that would be your focus. Okay? So according to to organic perspective, it is generally conceptualized as the formation of your neighborhood organizations, be it rural or urban, that is being convened to pursue local development goals or address particular issues such as crime prevention, environmental protection, or waste management. So if you can notice, mga kapatid, that if we're talking about problems, no, so yung mga particular issues, makikita niyo pangmalakihan yan, no, yung crime prevention, say for example, hindi ba sabi ng presidente nung siya ay maluklok, ang sabi niya malulutas daw niya ang problema ng 3 to 6 months. And bakit kaya nag-fail yung ganung pananaw? It is simply because hindi kaya ng isang taong resolbahin yon. Kaya sa mga susunod na election, pag may isang politiko magsasabi sa inyo mga kapatid that there would actually be one person na magliligtas sa Pilipinas, no? Do not believe that kind of concept, no? Because from the very start, it would take you a community para talaga tanggalin ang mga ganitong uri ng problema. Sa crime prevention pa nga lang, hindi ba? Sinasabi daw na marami daw na lutas na problema lalo sa droga. Pero nakita ba natin yung mga problema kagaya halimbawa ng pagkamatay ng maraming tao? No, so that definitely does not diminish yung katotohanan tungkol sa pag-prevent ng crime, because kahit yung pagpatay ng tao, that is actually considered as crime. Another example would actually be your environmental protection, hindi ba? Pag sinabi natin environmental protection or gusto nating pangalagaan yung ating kalikasan, hindi yan kakayanin ng isang tao kahit sabihin natin na magtanim kalimbawa ng 10 puno diyan or 100 puno diyan, hindi yan kakayanin ng isang tao kung isang tao lamang ang gagalaw. No? Mangyayari diyan, kailangan daw natin mag-form ng neighborhood ng organizations kahit nasa ka man, no, nasa urban ka man or rural area, so that you will be able to protect your environment. no, na kailangan lahat tayo meron tayong isang objective, kasi kung kahit anong gawin mong paghihirap diyan pero taliwas naman sa ginagawa ng iyong kasama, definitely magiging tabla lang, or worse, no, kung halimbawa mag-isa ka lang pero karamihan sa kanila ay hindi sumasang-ayon sa ano no, sa pagprotekta sa kalikasan, definitely matatalo ka pa rin. No, that is why it is imperative for us to form this kind of neighborhood. And lastly, which ano no, common ito no, lalo sa mga urban areas, ito tawag natin na waste management, no, na isang malaking issue to up until now, no, na parang bakit ang dami pa rin mga basura. It is simply because hindi tayo naging responsible sa mga ating iniiwan na ano no, iniiwan na mga byproducts. So say for example, kapag bumili ka limbawa ng shampoo, bumili ka limbawa ng conditioner, no, may mga tao na kung saan na lang tinatapon. Hindi ba? Say for example, meron din diyan yung ano no, instead na gumamit ng mga biodegradable products na kung saan makakatulong sana sa ating kalikasan, hindi siya nai-implement, no? Another good example is yung paggamit nga ng straw, no? So sa paggamit ng straw, definitely no, hindi yan kakayanin kung mag-isa ka lang nagagamit halimbawa ng ano no, ng metallic straw. Kailangan mo ng isang komunidad so that you will be able to be successful in ano no, in addressing yung waste management kung tawagin. Okay? But simply put, if we're talking about organic perspective, this is something to do with your grassroots level. Bababa at bababa sa neighborhood na pinakamaliit, so that you'll be able to know your community and address the issue efficiently. Okay? So there. And as we also talk about your organic perspective, okay, since we already said that this is something to do with the grassroots communities or pinakamababa. So it is also important to take note that grassroots communities are able to strengthen their sense of community, as of course they will work together in pursuing an identified task or goal. So that would actually be our primary objective din sa sa dulo ng ating SEM, no, na kung saan kailangan nating magtulungan, kailangan nating makipagkaisa sa mga classmates natin, sa mga barangay officials natin, so that we will be able to be successful in attaining our goal, no? Because later I will let you identify different problems in our adopted community, no? So that would be one of the barangays in Quezon City, na kung saan aaralin natin yung community dynamics, no? Ano ba yung saan ba sila nagkakaroon ng problema, no? Tapos ano ba yung kailangan nating gawin, and kasabay nun, no, hahayaan ko kayo na i-divide yung task among yourselves, no? Ano ba yung gagawin halimbawa ni classmate 1? Ano ba yung gagawin ni classmate 2? Sino yung gagalaw sa pagdating halimbawa sa pakikipag-usap sa kapitan, pakipag-usap halimbawa sa mga kapitbahayan. So definitely, if we will be able to to work together, no, definitely we will have that strengthening of our sense of community, na hindi natin kaya mamuhay lang na mag-isa, or hindi natin kayang solusyonan yung mga problema na mag-isa. That is why kailangan natin magkaroon ng partners sa ibang tao. So another thing, so grassroots organizations or movements are typically composed of volunteers from the local or community level. At lagi natin karaniwan natin yung makikita, no, pag pumunta ka sa barangay, marami pa rin mga tao ang nagvo-volunteer, no, so that they will be able to help their community or their society. Because sabi ko nga, no, if it will actually take you your conviction na kailangan merong mabago, or kailangan merong mag-step up, so that pamamarisan siya ng ibang mga tao rin. Okay? So that would be yung yung mga grassroots organizations or movements. So karaniwan yan binubuo yan ng mga volunteers, so sa local and community level. And also, class, grassroots organizations and movements have also been instrumental in political party formation. Karaniwan yan, no? So if we will be talking about the dynamics about our politics here in the Philippines, lagi nagsisimula yan sa mga sa mga mabababang organisasyon, kasi meron silang gustong patunayan, no? Meron silang gustong resolbahin. So dahil nga gusto nilang gawin itong macro movement, no, definitely nagiging instrumental ito sa mga political party formation, na nagkakasundo sila na ay kailangan natin siyang step up, no, kailangan natin meron tayong representante halimbawa sa Kongreso or sa Senado, na definitely mas malawak yung coverage nila, so that they will be able to to help within their community further. Okay? All right. So that would actually be our community perspective. And that would definitely be the first part of our discussion about the concepts and perspectives of community. And I'm hoping that you will continue to watch our succeeding videos so that you'll be able to be knowledgeable of our topic. Nevertheless, let me grab the opportunity to thank everyone. Again, this is your instructor, Mr. Crip Anthony E. Ramos, and I will see you all on our succeeding sessions. Thank you, everyone.